Hi Richard, could you just give us a little introduction as to the ideas behind the Liberator Wines and how you came about the idea for the series, please?
Right, okay. Well, my day job is I'm a wine importer. So I lived and worked in South Africa for 7 years, between 1995 and 2002, which is probably the most dynamic time that the South African industry was developing. But I suppose during that period I was exposed to the new wave, the great and the good generation that was coming through out of the Cape. So when I came back to the UK in 2002, and I'm now based here importing wine, I go back to the Cape every year, 2 or 3 times, and the Liberator is a function of just going back to the Cape, seeing all my old mates and my suppliers, and you walk through their cellar and invariably they've got something in there that they don't know what to do with, and it's not because it's bad wine, they just don't have a home for it. So I basically see myself as a sort of I rescue these sort of vinous orphans of wine that exist in the Cape, which would otherwise just be sort of condemned to being blended away or just sold off in bulk. So that's really what the whole sort of idea is about. I started doing it in 2010. All the wines are sold as what I call episodes, and once one parcel of wine has been sold through, it's a case of just seeing what comes up. But there's absolutely no formula to the Liberator. It's just a function of what I find on my travels, and it's just really just a hobby, I suppose, within my day job. So these are some of the latest releases, if you like. There's no formula to it. The price points change, the volumes change, the origin changes. The only thing that's really consistent is the fact that it's called the Liberator, and the wines are from South Africa. So and all the volumes are sort of declared on the back. So and some of the wines might be, when I see them, they might already be in bottle. For example, Sept the dog that was presented to me in September 2018 as a bottled wine, but unlabelled. Whereas Homage to Catalonia, that was still in barrel, a single barrel of Viura in 2016. So it's purely opportunistic. There's no formula to it at all.
And each wine tells a story.
Yeah,
of the
wine
vigneron behind it.
Yeah, every wine has its own story, which is why when we sort of came up with this idea of liberating these parcels, and therefore I became the Liberator, the Cape Crusader, then the whole thing sounded like it was going to be some sort of comic book superhero. So that's the reason why we sort of went down the rather facile labels. But having said that, there is a serious story behind each one. There's nothing contrived about this. They're all. I don't commission any wine. They're just wines that I literally just come across. And I suppose we've got to the position now after 8 or 9 years that producers are coming to me now saying I've got something that might be of interest to you, rather than me having to necessarily go looking for things. But they all have their own little story.
And have you got a few more lined up? Have you already got them lined up for the future?
Well, I was down there in April this year, and Rick, who's my alter ego, sort of tapped into a very rich vein of new releases. So there's 5 new episodes being released now, which is if you're listening to this now, it's September 2019. So yeah, there's 5 new releases, and there's 2 more, or actually 3 more planned for next year as well already.
Excellent. And which is your favourite Liberator?
I don't have kids, but I would say that they're all. I don't really have a favourite. I wouldn't have a preference. I have a soft spot for a couple, but I wouldn't necessarily want to bias anybody's opinion.
Well, thank you very much. Should we go down and taste?
We shall do.
Thank you.